Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. And today, I'll be reviewing another film that came out this year. And I would say at the end of the day, this film was not for me. It wasn't. And plain and simple, it was this very boring movie. I'm sure people will disagree, but this film was not for me. This wasn't my kind of movie at all. So today I'll be reviewing of The Green Knight. Now, this came out this year, made very little money, but this came out the same weekend as Jungle Cruise, which I already ranted on Jungle Cruise. I was not in, it wasn't my movie either. But you can check that out though. But this film, The Green Knight, is directed by David Lowery, who directed Pete's Dragon, the 2016 remake. But also this is also made from the studio A24. Yeah, which I think it is a very overrated studio in my opinion, because I did not like most of their movies that they made, especially the horror films they made. Especially Tusk, that was Kevin Smith's one. Where a guy gets turned into a walrus, silly as hell. The Witch I rented a long ago. That was crap. It Comes at Night. Midsummer I reviewed for Halloween month earlier. Did a huge rant on that. Overrated piece of garbage. And also Hereditary. Hereditary is another overrated piece of garbage film, which I have to do that one though, but. Yeah, hated Hereditary, hated Midsummer. But the only thing that they done was good though is not a horror film, was Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, awesome performance. He gave the best performance he's given in over 20 years. Or 15 years, to be fair. He did an awesome, fantastic job. I love Uncut Gems. Yeah, because I felt bad for his character, because he's just the guy who's just making mistakes and all that stuff, though. But I enjoyed Uncut Gems, and he was robbed of an Oscar for that film. The Disaster Artist, the comedy film with both James and Dave Franco, I liked. About the film, but they're making of the coming of making of that horrible movie, The Room. And James Franco played Tommy Wiseau, or how to pronounce his last name. I like The Disaster Artist. But for the horror films that they've done, I've been so horrible and overrated. Here though, this was not my cup of not my cup of tea at all either. And this freaking fresh thing does not deserve it. I hate when they put the fresh Rotten Tomatoes thing on the covers, because if you want to see this, does it deserve it or not? It is an 89% Rotten Tomatoes. I hate this. I hate this fresh thing when they put on the covers on DVDs. Okay, start off. Okay, it stars this guy Dev Patel. He's a guy who starred in Slumdog. I think what was a Slumdog Millionaire. He plays our lead guy by the name of Garwin. I can't pronounce the name. He's a guy. He is the nephew of King Arthur. And also, this is based on the poem as well, because there was another film that was made from 1984 that was called The Sword of the Valiant that starred Sean Connery and Peter Cushing. And Sean Connery looked absolutely silly in that movie. Just the way he was dressed, it looked like a... Come on, if you really was dressed, he was all green with stuff on. Like, he looked like a Christmas tree. Just be totally real here. That was not a good movie either. And it's too bad, it's a shame, because I love Sean Connery. May he rest in peace. But Sword of the Valiant was not that good either. And that was the same film based on the same poem of this. So you get pretty much similar plot with a little bit of changes though. But I already pretty much know what the story was going. And the story is that our lead guy, I always called Dev Patel. I can't pronounce the guy's name still. He's like I said before, he's the nephew of King Arthur, and he's the guy who's just he basically likes to but like, pretty much likes to fuck women basically, because you get plenty of that. And then on Christmas Day, this Green Knight comes in, played by Ralph Ineson, and pretty much for him, it's like, you can cut my head off basically. It's like we seen the trailer, right? Yeah, you can cut my head off if you want, but if you screw up, I get to take a swing at you basically. And Dev Patel basically is the all high and mighty because he basically didn't have like the fame like his uncle had. He wants to have glory for it, so he think this would be his chance. Cuts his head off, but it was a trick because the Green Knight puts his head back on, which is him right there. And now he says, "No, well, see you next year. We'll be here on the same day." Yeah, so next year on Christmas. So, and also the thing is, a positive thing about this is it is a good looking movie. You get some nice visuals, and for the acting, the most part was not that bad at all. But the thing is, though, the main problem with this film is it's very boring. I didn't care for much the characters. It was a very boring movie. And yeah, this film was 129 minutes without end credits, but it's still 2 hours long. Why this film had to be 2 hours long, this did not need to be. You could have been easily cut a lot out to condense it to a shorter movie. So, because every film nowadays has to be 2 hours long. Jungle Cruise, all the superhero movies. Not every movie has to be 2 hours over 2 hours long. You know what? Take this for example. Well, actually, I'll take both of these for example. Here's an example. I reviewed both of these films. I just reviewed this one. Both of these films, which basically this one I just picked up recently. I did because it's pretty much my favorite film of this year. One of two. Well, these are my top three favorite. These are two of my top three favorite films this year. So yeah, *Malignant* and *Nobody*, which I just reviewed *Nobody* before this. These are not over 2 hour. These are not over 2 hour movies. They're much more faster paced and they were more fun and entertaining. The action in this was really great, and Bob Odenkirk did a good job as a likable lead. And here, in *Malignant*, with Annabelle Wallis as our lead here. And this is also good like for visually, especially from director James Wan. And here from the action from the director of Hardcore Henry. These are really good movies, but they're not over 2 hours long. They're about pretty much an hour and 45 minutes at most. You can have good, well-paced films, but do not have to be over 2 hours long. But I can't say that because there are films I've enjoyed that are over 2 hours long. So, like The Suicide Squad, which is a superhero film, like I said, I'm tired of superhero films that would be over 2 hours long, but as I put though, The Suicide Squad that came out this year that I enjoyed, and that was over 2 hours long, but the thing is though, there was more likable characters that I liked. And especially the good directed from James Gunn. But here, this was a boring snail-paced movie with characters I did not care for, even for our lead guy here. The only thing you just watch is for the nice, pretty visuals. That's pretty much about it. And I don't get that. I don't get the praise from critics. And this freaking fresh thing on Rotten Tomatoes, which I hate putting on the cover. I feel like ripping this thing out, ripping that thing out, and just calm down. I mean, overall, I'm raising my voice, but the thing is, I'm not overall mad at the movie. I'm just at the end of the day, I'm just like this. It's a boring movie. What? It's not a huge rant, but it's like, it's a boring movie. Didn't need to be 2 hours long, So, anyway, moving on. So pretty much, it's him going on this journey to travel to the Green Knight within the year. Which also he meets this fox who comes with them every now and again. This fox here, and he's riding on his horse, which sometimes it drags on. I mean, it's just nothing but just him just riding on a horse. There's a point where it's like a bit foggy, and there's these two giants. Nice, good looking visuals. Like I said, I mean this is pretty much the only thing this film gets away with. You know, you can watch it for the nice, pretty visuals, but that's not enough though. And a nice showing of the landscapes as well. Okay, like I said, it's a good looking movie. It's that's why I can say. Almost choked there. It's like with the Midsummer and these other films with A24 is that they all have nice visuals, good looking movies though, but that's pretty much the only thing they're good at. And what else? And there is a point where he goes to where he meets this nice guy. I think he's a lord. I think he was. It's actually played by Joel Edgerton. Joel Edgerton, you know, which he was also in another overrated piece of crap A24 film, It Comes at Night. But other films I like Joel Edgerton in. So yeah, I don't mind him as an actor. But he plays he's this nice guy. You can stay here. If you want to go, you can go. But then pretty much, you know, the guy fucks the Joel Edgerton's wife, and there's this blind woman watching, and Joel Edgerton gets pissed, and he tells him to leave, and he does. And like I said, there is some sort of like changes, but it's pretty much the same movie because I got most of it from The Sword of the Valiant, and it is based on a poem, so pretty much we kind of know how it ends. But like I said, it was a little bit slight changes though, but not those changes would have helped. And then one thing leads to another is that, you know, he eventually goes to if he finds the Green Knight, and tells him he gets on his knees, but then it's at that point though, you think that though he goes back, runs away, because basically he's a chicken, he's a pussy basically, he's a wimp. He runs away, and which with all this whole entire thing is a vision. This whole thing is a vision where he runs away. He's a coward, and the woman was the wife, I think it was Alicia Vikander. He has a son, but then he pretty much just leaves her, goes for another woman, and then finds out that his son died in battle, and all this here with him because all the results because it's to show him that, you know, whatever happens, this is what his life afterwards, and yeah, him being of a coward and a wimp, sissy. But so that was all that is in a vision. So it's like he's still on his knees, talking to the granite. You know what? I'm ready. I'm gonna die here with nobility and courage. And because he has this thing where it was his gift that was pretty much where he was gonna get his head cut off. His head cut off, right? He has this thing around his neck, takes it, and he said he's ready. And then pretty much that's when with the Green Knight saying, you know, now off with your head, and that's when the movie ends. So yeah. So pretty much, yeah, The Green Knight. It wasn't my kind of movie. I wasn't really big. Well, particularly, I'm not big on these times, you know, of these nights like King Arthur type era movies. I'm not really big on that type of era in movies. Well, there's like fantasy films like Crawl, which that's a much better movie. But that's a fantasy movie though, because they have like flaming horses. You have the weapon of the glaive. Or like the lead guy that I liked. I forget the guy's name though, but I love Crawl. It's a fantastic fantasy movie. That's like dealing with that type of night era, whatever. And but that is different though, because here it's supposed to be with King Arthur and all that stuff though. But I forgot to mention this guy, the guy who was that guy in Eternals. He was the one who was, you know, can manipulate the minds You remember Internals? He's the guy who he was fed up how the way humans were fighting for each other, and he manipulated the minds of people. That's what his power was, and he leaves the group until when the group finds him. Yeah, that guy. I forgot to Barry something. Barry something. He's the guy who played. He was that mind manipulating Eternal in the Eternals. You know, he was in this. He's a guy who's a scavenger, basically. But the film was just a boring movie. That's the thing it was. That's the best way I can describe it, as a boring movie. A boring film with nice visuals. That's the only thing this film can get away with. And the acting is not the problem. The acting is pretty much overall fine. But the visuals is nice. Dev Patel with his character, who's just very much dumbass, who fucks women. Pretty much when he's a chicken shit wimp sissy. He's trying to find for glory with his axe. There's a point where he lost his axe. I forgot to mention. He lost his axe, and then he gets another one. This here. But in the Green Knight, it looks pretty good. Let's say visuals, visually. The Green Knight looks pretty cool. I give it that. About Ralph Ineson, he does fine as the Green Knight. It was nice to see Joel Edgerton. But the film was it was a boring slugfest. I'm just watching. A lot of times a lot of scenes drag out. This could not have been 2 hours long. Could easily condensed it down. But that's the main issue I have with this movie. That's why this film I was not really into. But I gave it a fair shake. I gave it a fair chance at it. But for director David Lowery, I'd rather watch the 2016 remake of Pete's Dragon. Actors that I thought are much better though. Carl Urban, Robert Redford, Wes Bentley, especially Carl Urban and Robert Redford. But I'd rather watch Pete's Dragon over this. That's the other one that the guy directed. But the Green Knight was not my kind of movie. If people like it, that's fine. I'm not here to judge you for that. If you think it's a good movie, that's fine. Like I said, no judge here. This wasn't my kind of movie at all. That's all it was. It was just too long, boring. Like I said, nice visuals. Good acting was fine, but it was not enough to save the movie. And especially the characters I pretty much didn't care about, especially for our lead. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Green Knight. Why I say would this be better? Was this better than The Sword of Valiant? Yeah, kind of. Because that was not a good movie either. But maybe I'd rather put this over that. Maybe that's another plus I can give to it. But anyway, it wasn't my movie at all. That's all I can say. That's my review for my little rant on the Green Knight. In my opinion, I think it's just another overrated, acclaimed movie from A24. I just go rather watch Uncut Gems or the Disaster Artist. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review. Later.